Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Angela with Flip and Flutter Creations, here to bring you another Cricut crafting tutorial. Today we are going to talk about how to use the advanced button up here to ungroup our lines of text to letters and to lines. So here in your screen, you're going to see that I've already typed out Flip and Flutter. I have it in a single line and I have it in multiple lines. So the first thing you're going to see is that the advanced button up here, where it has ungrouped to lines, will actually allow you to separate these lines of text that you have right now that is one layer, and we're going to make it multiple layers. So the nice thing about doing this is that if you are designing something and you want all of your font to be the same size, or you just want to type everything out and get it all typed out, and then you want to arrange it on your screen or resize each individual word, you can do it this way. And that way you have all your typing out of the way. So I have my layer selected that has the multiple lines of text, Flip and Flutter. I'm going to go up here to the advanced button and click Ungroup to Lines. Now you'll notice that instead of one, I now have three different layers. And I can arrange those however I want and do whatever I want with them. I can make this one big and I can make this one small, whatever. And I can arrange those however I want on the screen. So that can be really useful, like I said, especially if you just want to type all of your text out at once and then you want to arrange it when you're doing something maybe that's really detailed. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Now, the next feature with the advanced button is the ungrouped letters. You'll notice that the ungrouped to lines is not visible right now, and that's because we only have one line of text. So I now just have this one line, and obviously this doesn't look correct. And that is because unfortunately Cricut does not take the script fonts and connect them as like a flowing text. For example, this is called musical notes, and I've written the same thing out over here in my document, Flip and Flutter. And see how beautiful that just flows together perfectly like that? Obviously, it does not do that here in Cricut. So unfortunately, we have to try and get these letters together so that they flow neatly. So there are a couple different ways that you could do this. The first one is using the letter space button up here, which that's really helpful. And you can do it to, you can, keep clicking down until your letters kind of start to go together. But you're going to notice that here, my L and my I look perfect, but the P isn't even close yet. Same thing here, A and N have gotten really close, but the D is not. But then these letters are not very close at all. E and R look pretty good. So if I were to keep going to get like the LIP together, you're going to notice that then some of the letters ends up being too much. So by the time I get the I and the P together, the L and the I are way too close. So I'm going to take this back to 0. So it is nice to use that letter space button to condense them just a little bit to get them closer. But we're going to use this advanced button here, ungroup them to letters, and then I'm going to show you how to make them flow. The other way you can do this, other than clicking this button right here, is you can also do ungroup. So either way, when you just have one line like this, you can do ungroup, or you can ungroup to letters in the advanced menu here. So that's where I'm going to use it just because that's what I'm used to. So now you'll see that over here in your layers file, all of your letters are separate. It can be a little overwhelming sometimes, but don't worry about it. It doesn't take long to put these letters together. I do recommend that you have your text a little larger. Like I may not want to cut this large, like altogether it's 15 wide. But I like to have it bigger when I'm condensing these letters, and then I can resize the word however I want. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start by selecting the last letter all the way on the right. So I've got my R here. I'm going to try to use the arrows, and you'll see that sometimes they get it close, sometimes they don't. So I tend to just take my mouse and move it until it's as close as can be without going over. Now I'm taking my mouse and I'm left clicking on my mouse and I'm selecting the E and the R, so that now I have E and R selected, and I'm going to slide those over until now they're connected to the T. Now I'm going to select the TER and move it over. You got to be careful that you don't take your font up and down. I tend to do that a lot. You know, sometimes I fix it, sometimes I just leave it. Just depends on how I'm feeling. And I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep selecting, going over. And if we go back and we look, we see that that pretty little loop loop right there on the F goes into the L. So I think we need to go over just a little bit more. Oops. Let's just Control Z so that I can select these. There we go. So I'm going to go over, and I think that's pretty close right there. So now we have flutter. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and we can weld just the one word if you want. Sometimes I tend to just keep going until I have all of the words done, but we can go ahead and weld flutter. Yay, looks good. So now we have flutter. We're going to keep it the same distance here so that spacing stays, but now I'm going to select flutter and the D and I'm going to slide it all over until the N and the D now line up. I'm going to select it all again and move that over. So it's a lot of just selecting and moving and sliding it ever so gently so that you're not going up and down with those letters. And then just taking all of that text, so I have A and D selected, and I'm going to weld that word. Now the reason I'm selecting the two words that are already welded and moving them over is because I want my spacing to stay the same. If you don't care about the spacing because you're going to move this down here and then the flip up here and it's going to look like that, then you don't have to keep selecting those. You can just go over here to P, move the P, and do it just as if we did when we did flutter, where we were just doing the one word. But I tend to do it all together because a lot of times I'm trying to keep my verbiage together and flowing with that nice space between it. And I can't always get that just right the way I want it. So now flip is together. So I'm going to weld that. Yay. And now I can do whatever I want with these words. And they look oh so pretty. There we go. I really like that font actually. I think that looks cute. So that's how you would take your cursive fonts and you would connect them so that they flow with that nice, beautiful text flow that a cursive font is supposed to have. And hopefully one day this tutorial will not be necessary because hopefully Cricut will update the Cricut app and we will be able to just type out the word. And if it is a script font, it will automatically connect. That would be really amazing, Cricut. We would love that. But for now, here's the workaround to get your fonts looking like they're supposed to. The other thing you can do is if you have a program like I have Photoshop, so sometimes what I will do is if I just have too many letters and I don't want to have to take the time to move them slowly and get that just right, or some fonts are really hard to connect just right. What I will do is I will go into Photoshop, I'll type my word, make sure I have a transparent background, and then I will save the word as a PNG and upload it into Cricut. So sometimes it's a lot to do just to have the font that you want looking the way that it's supposed to look, but that's the things we do for our crafting and to make it look perfect when we are in Cricut doing all of our crafty things. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you, and now you know how to make your cursive font all connect and use those advanced tools up in the Cricut bar. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when I post my next video. And again, thanks for stopping by. Bye.